Brent,
Curtis,
how are you?
I'm great, man.
I'm actually really looking forward to this podcast. I'm surprised you didn't show up with Samantha
She wanted to be here.
when she was your sister Samantha when she was
Yeah,
harassing
you
me that night. Yeah,
for sure.
Curtis, I need to tell the world about today's youth.
Yeah, well, you can have her on. She's available.
I know she's been.
You could
calling
reach
me.
out.
She calls me daily.
Yeah,
She
Her-
leaves me voicemails.
her and my mom will come on together.
I wonder what kind of podcast that would be. Very entertaining, I bet.
I could guarantee it for sure. Yeah, more so than myself, and probably some of your other guests as well. They're.
I think you're going to be you've been pretty entertaining so far. I wish we were recording everything up until now.
I thought we were.
No, we're not. And so for the listeners today, we got Mr. Brent Pickrell of Westmount Florist.
That's me.
What's your official position now? President?
We're still transitioning, so
Okay.
I don't have it nailed down. President, CEO, something.
Okay.
I don't know when you had to conceptualize that at one point. How did you do it, and what's your title?
I'm officially president now.
President.
Yeah.
You didn't want to go with a CEO?
What's the difference? There is a difference.
They're
I think,
just
right?
they're all just titles. I think. I don't know if there's any.
I didn't really care. I mean, for a while I was VP of KBD Insurance, but I was acting as the president.
People sometimes will do something creative, like a flower founder, something. You can do whatever you want, right?
I saw once head coach.
Yeah, that's good for you. That would work for you, I think.
The head coach, yeah.
Coach Kurt.
Yeah, Coach Kurt.
Yeah.
But no, Brent, thank you so much for coming here today. Took us a while to get this scheduled. I know you got a busy schedule, and you came all the way from Westmount. I'm sure you fought through the traffic.
No, it wasn't that bad.
How long did it take you to get here?
About half an hour, 36 minutes.
36 minutes.
You gotta hate the carry though. Like when I thought you were, for some reason I thought I would be taking the 20.
Okay.
And it was just so disappointing when when I saw where I was going and I knew I was gonna have to go up the carry. Even if it's the same distance, same amount of time, just being around to carry just
it's terrible.
It sucks. Yeah.
It's gross too.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
Yeah.
There's always traffic.
Yeah.
There's always construction.
Yeah. You're down in a pit.
Yeah. There's dust everywhere and dirt.
Yeah. I wonder why they couldn't just put another layer of road above the carry.
I've always thought the same thing. It's almost like you're in a third world country when you're traveling through Decarie.
You're in the trench, yeah. Remember when it would flood? I'm sure there's more floods in its future, but have you seen like videos or photos of times when it's flooded?
No.
No?
No.
Well, just imagine Decarie, but it's flooded. Like, so cars would be effectively underwater or almost underwater. And it's happened several times.
Is that like the new show there on Crave, The Last of Us?
Yeah. That's a good show.
Yeah, have you watched it?
Yeah. I'm not up to date because I was just talking to Issa about it a moment ago. Actually, I thought we weren't watching it together anymore because she gave me a hard time after we watched the last one. So I started watching it on my own, and now apparently we are watching it together. So
got it. Just gotta put up a little pause, a little hiatus.
Yeah. It was a trap, She's like, you don't have to watch it with me any more than I did. She's like, well, you still have to watch it with me. So I don't know what to do.
I just watched the 4th episode. It was really good.
Oh, the 4th one?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I think they come out every Sunday.
They're out every Sunday, yeah.
Joey, you watch it too?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
I'm into it.
Yeah.
It's basically I Am Legend.
Yeah.
A little different.
With mushrooms.
Yeah, and they're uglier. Oh,
Yeah.
they're so ugly.
That's one thing.
The aliens.
That's got to turn a lot of people off. Like, I think a lot of people have a phobia around like fungus growing out of skin and like small little. There's a certain phobia. I don't know what it's called, but it's a fear of sort of really small things all clustered together. A lot of people have it. I would assume that The Last of Us is not for everyone, particularly just because of how yucky those.
I'm feeling sick right now just thinking about like the head and. Anyways, I don't want to give a spoil. I don't want to spoil anything. Yeah. Just it's and I guess that's obviously what they're trying to do to look at these creatures and go, oh my god, that's disgusting.
It's a different take on zombies, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've never had mushroom zombies before.
And you know what?
Yeah.
as a florist,
Yeah.
I feel like I'd really like to, I value your opinion on
A great segue.
Well, you know, there's like a lot of flowers grow. Do flowers besides mushrooms, like, is there anything else that grows are there any flowers that you sell that would be considered like a fungus, or no? That's just mushrooms and stuff.
No, not really. We don't sell
you don't have any new
mushrooms,
products,
obviously.
Would you ever get into, let's say, magic mushrooms got legalized, which they're on their way to being legalized?
Yeah.
Would you ever segue into having like a little department to sell magic
No,
mushrooms?
it's funny.
Too?
People ask that about weed too when it was being legalized. People would somehow associate that with a flower shop, but it's not we're not growing anything.
Okay.
Obviously, we're just selling the cut byproduct. So
importing all the stuff.
Yeah, importing, or there's a lot of local growers, but we don't grow anything ourselves. Like, it would make more sense for one of our growers. Like, we have a big grower out in Hudson who could. Okay. They've got the facilities. If they want to pivot maybe to marijuana or magic mushrooms, it'd make more sense for them. But we don't have any of those. We're not vertically integrated in that.
You don't have like a magic or a secret farm somewhere?
No secret farms.
Westmount
We have
Florist
good
farm.
relationships with our suppliers, but no secret farms of our own, for sure.
Okay. And the growers where you buy the stuff from, I would imagine, because we live in a cold climate, it's indoor growing, I guess?
Yeah. There are people who grow when things are in season, obviously. Like, there are local growers for flowers during the summer months. Like, you'll get sunflowers locally, or peonies and dahlias and all stuff like that. But for sure, during the winter months, everything is grown inside. Most of the stuff is imported. If it is grown here, it is grown inside. Like, we're getting our tulips now. You get a harvest for January, and it's a guy out in PEI who has he's got to be the biggest grower of tulips in Canada. I don't know, maybe North America. That's a total total guess. Like, maybe made that up completely.
I thought you were going to say the world.
Definitely in Canada, and he's a guy from Holland, so
okay.
It's part of his culture, part of his heritage, and he's got this huge farm out in PEI. It's just massive, and they export everywhere, all in Canada and probably the States as well.
That makes sense from Holland. Do you know anything about, like, I know that there was a big bubble back in the 1600s or something from Holland about the tulip bubble, basically the equivalent to today's cryptocurrency bubble.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
No, not much more than what you already mentioned. Just that the prices of tulips went through the roof, which I don't like. I find it hard to wrap my head around that, right?
And people had pet tulips.
Because how could that have happened? Like, is it speculation? They think the price of the tulips are going to go higher, so and it doesn't have any. It's never going to increase in value because it's going to die, right?
They die?
Well, yeah, tulips die. It's a cut flower, so I don't understand how.
It's not it's an annual. It's not a perennial?
Well, if we're talking cut tulips, like I think that when I'm referring to tulips, I'm talking about a cut tulip, not like the plant itself.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if this, what was it called, tulip mania or something like that? Yeah. If that was around cuts or around the plants or the bulbs. I don't know much about it, actually.
I feel like whenever a bubble is created, because I guess you could consider it a financial bubble, a lot of it has to do with there's just a lot of promoters around. It's kind of like snake oil.
Yeah.
Where they would just...
Snake oil is great, by the way.
What does it do?
I don't use it. My girlfriend uses it, though.
Actually?
Yeah, it keeps you put it on every night on your face for your wrinkles and stuff.
I don't know if you're screwing with me or not.
Yeah, I'm screwing with you.
For those that don't know, Brent will screw with you, and sometimes you don't know if he's bullshitting you or not. So, okay, interesting. But yeah, I feel like whenever there's a bubble in anything, that it's just there's some promoters around it, and they're really good at promoting. And there's a lot of pump and dump schemes going on, and they'll promote anything, but they'll pump and dump anything, drive the price up, sell it. But you're absolutely right. I don't know how you do that with tulips. I can get how you do that with like a digital asset or whatever you want to call it. But tulips,
yeah. Okay. I don't know much about it. You don't have sorry, I've
Joey.
Joey doesn't like Google things while you're talking about them.
Sometimes I do.
Like sometimes it depends. Yeah.
What do you want to know about tulips?
Tulip
Everything.
mania.
Yeah, the tulip mania. Yeah, we're just kind of curious. But how did you get? So you work at Westmount Florist. You've been working there for 10 years, a little more, like full time.
Well,
you've been there 10 years.
Full time, yeah, about 10 years, 10, 11 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know it's like a family business.
Mm-hmm.
How did Westmount Florist get started?
Westmount Florist was founded by my grandfather, George Pickrell. I think it's our 60-year anniversary this year.
Wow, congrats.
So whatever year it is now, minus 60. What's that?
What year are we? 63? Yeah, so, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that I think that adds up. So founded in 1963.
Okay.
They opened their first shop in Westmount, right across from Westmount Square.
Okay.
Followed up with a shop in the West Island.
So the location right now on Victoria is not the original
location? No, that's not the original location. They moved there, then they renovated that. Then we opened a shop in Point Claire. The shop in Westmount's had a couple renovations over the years, and then Point Claire as well. If you remember, it was actually located across from Gigi's Pizza.
Yes, and it burnt down, right?
Yeah, and I lived there for a while. A lot of my family's lived.
I did not know that.
Well, Uncle Dave lives there now. He lives above what is the Bill Bouquet, and where Peter's putting that restaurant in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And prior to that, we lived there. After we moved out, there was a fire, and that whole building burnt down. So do you remember Pickrell's ice cream?
Yep.
So there was the flower shop, Westmount Florist. We lived above it.
Yeah.
Pickrell's ice cream was next door. There was a fire in the 343 Lakeshore Road, which was Westmount Florist, burnt that whole building down, and it sort of melted.
How did it start?
We're not 100% sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Sort of melted the side of the ice cream parlor too. So they decided all the partners were sort of not sick of, but I guess they weren't seeing enough returns for what they were putting into the ice cream parlor, so they decided that they're not going to reopen the ice cream. They're just going to tear that down, and then they built what's there now, where Bill Bouquet is, and where Peter's putting his place in.
So back to like the question. So Westmount Florist was started by your grandfather, and then the children took it over.
Yep.
There's 4 children.
There's 3 children,
excuse
and
me.
their cousin Danny's in the business as well.
Okay. Yep. Danny boy,
yeah. So Danny's out. Danny runs the shop out in Point Claire. He used to be there with Peter, but Peter's now retired for a couple years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so it started off 1963. Grandfather.
My grandfather worked in flowers for a long time before.
Yeah, like how did he get started in flowers?
He was just interested in them. Like there's a story of him going to as a young man going to the McGill greenhouse and walking through there, taking a tour, then going outside, and he saw that there was a street peddler selling carnations on the street, and he just as a concept, he thought that was a nice concept to sort of see something grow, and then you can sell it afterwards. So so the story goes. That's sort of how he decided he wanted to get into that industry. Then he worked for several shops in Montreal and Toronto.
Okay.
He worked for a shop called Pinkerton's for a long time, which was a big shop here.
They're not around anymore.
They're not around anymore. They were in Westmount though. They had one location, and he also worked for a shop, like a big shop that I think had out of Toronto, and he managed like their locations. The guy was older and retired, and he managed all their locations. Then he came back to Montreal and opened his own spot. I wish I could remember the name, but all that to say is that he did work in flowers for a long time before opening his own spot.
And I heard that he was quite like a boisterous. Like he's a really interesting man to be around. He kind of was I never met him, but what I heard is like whenever you would kind of see, he was like the center of attention. He was very very
he had
friendly.
A big personality, very like a memorable individual, like a tall guy too. You know, was tall. Everyone likes those tall guys.
Did he have a deep voice?
No, I don't think so. Just a regular voice. A real
wasn't like Dave?
like an old school guy.
Because Dave's voice is so deep.
No, he didn't sound like Dave. Same height as Dave. You know.
Hey, come here. How you doing?
Yeah. Same build.
Yeah.
And I must have been like 15 or 16 when he passed away. So I never really got to know him as a man, more of as a young adult and as a kid. So I can't speak too much to like what he was like on like a one-on-one, you know, like I knew him as a really fantastic grandfather and a really good guy, revered by his kids, his friends, by everyone that knew him. He seemed very, very popular and just well liked and respected, but I didn't know him as like a man, as who I am now, you know. Never
Like
had that opportunity.
Yeah, that's interesting, because it's kind of like I find that around the age of, it was probably the same for you, like around the age of 18, 19, probably 20, I'd actually say, I started becoming more friends with my parents.
Yeah.
18, I was still kind of their child.
Yeah.
And then once you hit 20, 21, you know, you move out, you're more their friend at that point there. 'Cause, you know,
you don't get that opportunity with your grandparents so much, you know, because
Yeah.
you're typically,
yeah.
you're
Like go have a beer with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. To
Just
know
talk
them
about
and to
life.
know them as who you are as an adult, you know, you're fully developed. You sort of like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're 15, 16, you're still just like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just wandering through life, you know, kind of.
Yeah. You're a little kid. It's a relationship, but it's not like the same sort of relationship you have with someone when you're actually like conversing with them or relating to them.
So Westmount Florist, been around since '63. Has it? I know you guys do quite well right now. You know, you sell a lot of flowers around Montreal. Has it grown a lot since its inception in 1963?
Well, yeah, definitely. Like I said, started off with just the one shop, moved to a larger location.
Yeah.
Opened up the second shop.
Yeah.
Then now the new frontier is, as you know and love, is online, right?
Oh yeah, baby.
The third shop.
We're gonna get into
is
that.
the website. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. So that's the third shop. That's where most of the growth comes from now, and it's and we can really sort of focus that and become who we want to be and sell what we want to sell. You know, it really gives us that opportunity.
How many employees are you now?
We're about 30 some odd employees.
And that's at
32.
Both locations.
That's between both locations, both full and part-time. That would include the partners as well.
And then you guys, because like you've also gotten into real estate, right?
Yeah, that's a separate company.
Okay.
But
I would imagine that's from the profits from Westmount Florist. So like the retained earnings you have.
I have no part in any of that, but that's
that's
like the partner's nest egg now as they can retire. They've been able to invest over the years in some real estate. Like we own the building that we operate out of in Westmount. Same goes for Point Claire. Then the one we were talking about before that burnt down, they built that up. Then there's some other properties there.
That's what insurance is for.
Yeah. I'm interested in that too, the real estate. Like I think that's probably where the direction that I'll take things in down the line.
It's been a hell of an investment in Canada over the past 50 years, if you look at it. And I was having this conversation with Brock the other day. You know, he knows what he's talking about. Yeah. And so just looking at everything, I mean, people think that there's going to be like a big correction in the real estate market. I'm not convinced that there is, because Canada's immigrating like 500. Last year, I think we immigrated 550,000 people, which for any developed country is like the most per capita by far. So we have all these people coming in. The red tape's not going away for like, they're not giving the cities and the governments, local governments aren't giving permits fast enough for the developers to build. And right now, because of the interest rate environment and just, it's like, you know, the cost of money, there's no new projects going up by these developers. So all that's to say, the supply of housing, there's people coming into Canada and the supply of housing isn't going up.
Right.
So what does that mean? If there's people coming in, the demand goes up, the supply is staying the same, the prices are most likely going to, you know, in the long term, I think they're going to keep going up. So to your point, I would agree with you. I think that it is a relatively safe, no investment's guaranteed, but it's a pretty damn safe investment.
Yeah, especially like in a metropolis where unless something's going to happen to Montreal, then you know it's finite, right? Yeah, it's an island too.
What do you think would happen to the real estate market if we had an alien invasion?
Geez, I don't know. Would it be good or bad? I would think that so many dependents there, like the type of aliens, because profits might, or rather prices might go up, like in the countryside, you know. Yeah. If you can get out there, I actually just watched A Quiet Place yesterday. Yeah. Have you seen that one? Have you seen the second one?
Yes. Yeah. Not as good as the first, I found, but still good.
So if those guys came to town, the price of real estate would go up in the country and down in the cities.
But don't you think it would just all go to zero?
No, you get a nice, well, Yeah, if it's apocalyptic, then yeah, everything's going to zero. If it's like The Last of Us.
So you're saying
But if we're living with them, if they're just like a pain in the ass, or they're like there, and you're like, oh shit, like
the monsters
Rob got killed by an alien yesterday,
yeah.
but you're still like paying your taxes and you're going to work and stuff, but you're just dealing with the monsters.
Yeah.
The price is gonna go up in the country. It's gonna plummet in the cities.
Just like during COVID.
Yeah, just like during COVID.
All the prices, like the chalets, the cottages and stuff, were going up through the roof.
People are going to be like, city, there's so many aliens there. I'm going to go and get a nice little place in the townships.
What about the cost of flowers? What do you think would happen there?
From the aliens?
If aliens invaded and aliens were living on the island of Montreal.
Yeah.
Let's say, okay, here's the scenario, okay? So they invade Montreal, the island of Montreal, okay? But they're nowhere else. Okay. Like they're just on the island.
Yeah.
What do you think would happen to the price of flowers at Westmount Florist? I think you could market that as kind of like free range eggs a little bit. You're kind of like, hey, we can still sell our flowers, and there's aliens that live here. It's that much more difficult to sell the flowers.
Yeah, I don't know. I think everyone's moving off the island if the aliens are here. If it's the quiet place aliens, we're all gone. We're just going to leave. Okay, and no one's going to want flowers, and we'll go out of business. Maybe for some funerals, I don't know. But no, it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay, so Westmount Florist. So you guys, before we start talking about the online, because I'm really interested in this. We sometimes we'll go for beers. We'll just talk, shoot the shit, SEO, digital marketing.
Curtis knows his stuff about the.
I love that stuff.
The SEO.
I could talk for days about that side of things and Google and everything. So you guys, besides selling flowers, what else? What other service? I don't want to say services. What other avenues do you have to sell flowers? Because you'll do like a specific types of events.
Yeah. So there's a couple different customer types, we could say. Our bread and butter is a customer to customer.
Yep.
So it's this is also what we can sort of take advantage of online. It's happy birthday, happy anniversary, thank you, I'm sorry, my condolences.
What's I'm sorry about?
That's
usually men buying it for their girlfriend.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, it's usually men
or husband for the wife.
Sorry, sorry, I was an asshole. Sorry, almost exclusively men saying I'm sorry.
Okay. Do you have any good stories for that? Like, where the call, like, oh man, I'm in the doghouse.
No, it's just all. It's always just that. There's nothing I can think of. I'm sure there have been a few over the years, but none that come to mind right away.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they don't normally disclose what they've done. It's not like. What you do notice though is that people's card messages, because not every order, but the majority of orders, particularly the ones for the things I just mentioned, have a card message with it.
Yeah.
What we see is the card messages online when the people are they have no inhibitions, right? They're not talking over the phone. The cards tend to be really long, like thought out, very emotional, like sappy cards.
Yeah.
On the phone though, they're short.
Yeah.
I guess people don't want to disclose their card message over the phone.
It's private.
Yeah.
It's private.
But you see it anyways. It's coming through onto the system. We have to update it.
Yeah.
But it's just having that screen in between, people really open up in their cards as opposed to over the phone. It is private, right?
Yeah.
I can
definitely see that.
Yeah. If you're going to send an order and you have a card message that's heartfelt, it definitely makes sense that people are going to send that online as opposed to over the phone.
Do you know the history of why people buy flowers for people that they love or care about?
No.
You don't. It's just nothing.
I don't. It's old. It's like an ancient.
Yeah. I'd be curious about that. Like, why do people buy flowers? It's kind of like the same thing as flowers, jewelry. Jewelry is another one. Like, why do you give, to your wife if you love, or, even.
It's just nice. They're like discretionary purchases, right? There's just nice things, not something that you need per se, but I think people just like beautiful things. I mean, the business is like majority women. Like the majority of our clients are women, and the majority of the recipients, even more so, I'd say, are women. Maybe they can appreciate it a little more. Or
women love flowers, man. It's like it's they really do. If I get flowers for my mom, oh my god,
yeah,
so they're so happy. Especially like a nice bouquet of flowers, like when you walk in and stuff like that. And you guys, by the way, you do like a kick-ass job. Christine's an absolute tank. She's the one who manages most of the events for weddings and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, weddings are a whole other thing.
Okay.
Christine does, a lot of Christine's our
when you say
director of design and one of our partners.
But when you say a whole other thing, it's still under Westflow, right?
Of course. But if we're talking about the customer types, like before, there's almost no similarity between sending someone flowers for their birthday or anniversary and then doing flowers for a wedding. The only thing that's similar is that there are flowers involved.
Got it.
No, there's no. The whole flow of that order, that transaction is completely different.
So outside of weddings, outside of bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, the consumer to consumer, is there anything else that you guys sell?
There's business, for? There's corporate clients.
Okay, but that's more for events, I guess, right?
It's almost a hybrid, When you think of an event, like you mentioned, a wedding. Yeah. We do a significant amount of weddings, and we do big weddings, fantastic weddings, like you said. Like Christine does an incredible job with that. Some things that would really, jaw-dropping stuff. Yeah. Really, really impressive.
It's art.
Yeah. It's not like it's not the biggest part of our business, though. It's not even close. Like I said, it's the customer to customer. The corporate's pretty big as well, but like 80% of our business is happy birthday, happy anniversary.
It's all the individual orders.
Yeah. And of course, holidays. We're coming up to Valentine's Day. Yeah. On the 14th, we do huge amounts of business in very concentrated time frames, right? Like February 14th, people aren't asking for the flowers the 15th, not even the 13th so much. It's that one day.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just flowers. What's bigger, Mother's Day or Valentine's Day?
Mother's Day gets the edge just by a little bit.
Okay.
And I could even be like, that may have changed last year. I think that Mother's Day is reigning champ right now, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Father's Day?
Father's Day is like nothing. There's like no one buys anything for Father's Day. So funny.
Interesting.
Yeah, at all.
So interesting.
Like, not at all. It is interesting.
Yeah.
You'd think it would be, and when I say nothing, I mean like it's just like a regular day at work.
Really?
Yeah.
Just.
It's not even
a little bump, like 5-10%.
It's not even a blip. No.
Be funny if you said, actually, our sales go down on Father's Day. I usually take Father's Day off.
Yeah, we're closed Father's Day. But it's
flowers. It's Father's Day. What are you doing?
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. Like, it's nice. You could send your old man some flowers or a plant or something. Like, orchid plants are fantastic.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a nice a nice plant. There's a big sort of not movement now, but people just love plants now.
Well, we have all the plants in our office here. They're going strong. I bought these plants 3 years ago now. They all look great. Most of them are growing.
Well, you're doing a good job taking care of them.
Well,
or someone else is doing it, I'd assume.
Someone else is doing it. Yeah. Within the office. But it's also it speaks to the quality of like the product. They look great. Having plants around, I'm not one to I don't know how to design anything for myself, but I appreciate a nice interior design, and for me, a nice interior design usually includes plants.
Plants are
they're great
for a home.
Yep,
very important. It's not finished unless you have some plants in there for sure.
Okay, what were we talking about again? So basically, we're talking about Westflow. So you guys give up 80% of your business comes from the individual sales.
That's a rough number for sure. But all that to say, it might be more. Might be a little less. I would think it's actually probably a little more.
Yeah.
Come from like the individual sales and the holidays. Definitely. And within that group, you have your customer to customer.
Yeah.
You have people who buy for themselves individually as well. Like there are people who buy for their homes, which is different than customer to customer. That's customer to self. Mm-hmm. But again, it's just an individual sale. Then there's the holidays and the corporate sort of corporate gifting and corporate events, even a little bit less so.
Okay. And so basically, this is a good segue to go into like the online part of what you're trying to develop. First and foremost, you spend a lot of time on your website, and we've briefly kind of scratched the surface of what you're trying to build, what can you just give us details on the new strategy you're trying to roll out for Westmount Florist?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the main reason that we're revamping, so we do spend a good amount of time on our current website, and it's a fine site. It served us really well for the past few years. As far as florist websites go, it's pretty darn good too.
It's functional.
It's functional, and it's continued to grow. But I personally have had a lot of frustration with ranking it organically, particularly when I look at what a lot of the other sites look like.
Yeah.
Most shops, like flower shops, typically aren't a big business. They're mostly mom and pop, very sort of small enterprises. That's not to say that we're a large business, not even a medium-sized business. We are a small business, but comparative to other shops, we do have like a lot more resources. We're probably the largest shop in Montreal, if not definitely the top three. But then what I end up seeing is we put a lot of time and money into developing the site. It ends up looking good, but we don't end up ranking for search terms, desirable search terms like Montreal flower delivery or Florist Montreal. And it was really frustrating to see other sites that I know have not had the same amount of capital investment, time put into them. They don't look as nice and they don't function as well. The copy's bad, but they're consistently ranking above us for so many high volume keywords. Yeah, high volume keywords and desirable keywords. And it just came to a point where it seemed like the only option was to really just tear it down, start over, and build it really how we wanted to. And it actually, from you, had told me like you're gonna have to do it yourself effectively.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can sort of outsource to people, and you do need a lot of people to help you build it on the way there, but you have to be very, very involved.
Yes.
It would appear. I mean, I haven't done it yet. We're not ranking for anything yet, but it certainly seems like if you want to get it done, you do have to do a lot of that stuff yourself, because if you don't know what you're talking about to a certain extent, people can tell you anything. It's like taking your car to the mechanic. They can sort of tell you whatever they want. You don't really know what's actually going on, what actually needs to be done, unless you are relatively well versed, or even just a little bit.
Is the new website up yet? It's not up yet.
No, that should be this summer, and it's not all about ranking, but the idea behind it, why we're doing it, is to rank. It's also an opportunity to sort of update our visuals and update our product photography.
Give it a facelift.
Give it a facelift, exactly.
So
it's a Shopify site now.
I'm just going to stop right there for basically just to kind of like recap what we're talking about for those that are probably like, what the hell are you guys talking about right now? So when you build an actual website, it's one thing to build an actual website, right? Mm-hmm. It's another thing to actually get people to come to the website. So there's multiple ways you can get people to come to a website. You can get them to come directly. That's by them knowing your brand. You can get them to come through paid ads. You can get to them to come to your website through social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or whatever, Instagram, Facebook. And then the last one, and for your industry, for my industry as well, search engine optimization. So what we're basically saying is it's important to build your website so that the algorithm understands what your website is about. Therefore, it can direct search traffic to your website. If Google understands, so I'll give you an example. If I want to rank for the keywords car insurance Montreal, okay? Or what's the one? Westmount flower delivery?
That'd be branded. So we already rank really well for anything Westmount related. It's the larger volume, broad sense
Montreal flower delivery.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So if you want to rank for Montreal flower delivery, and feel free to add anything on, you'd want to basically make it very simple for the algorithm Google's algorithm to understand what the page is about. So for example, you'd put at the top as the title, you could even make it simple, Montreal flower delivery. And then underneath, there's all technical aspects. It has to be good content. And Google's always updating their algorithm and stuff like this. But at the end of the day, it's not rocket science. Google is a service, and they want to make sure that the search results, if someone types in Montreal flower delivery, it's going to be the most relevant search result. The first result will be the most relevant search result, what they feel is the best search result for the user. The other way to come in first place is basically just pay for the ad. But the thing about paying for ads, as soon as you stop getting those leads. Yeah. For search engine optimization, it's almost like passive income.
Mm-hmm. And to me, it's a different, as a user, Like an organic result is different than a paid ad result to me. Like I will click on ads, obviously.
Yes.
But I'm also, at least I think so. I mean, I'd have to look at my screen and see what I do. I think I do also take a look at those organic results for the most part. For sure.
And now what they even threw in is the local packs. So basically, if you're looking for flower delivery, that's big in restaurants. So if you type in restaurants near me, the local pack, and so for example, if you see 4.8 stars, 600 reviews, you're like, okay, it's probably a pretty good restaurant, right? Yeah. Stuff like that. But you'd also be surprised because when we run ads, a lot of times, like we run ads for commercial insurance, and a lot of times people like you and I, we understand how it works. So we'll skip through the ads and go to the organic search listings. A lot of people don't understand how it works, and they'll actually just click on the first search result they see on their phone. Yeah. And sometimes, not sometimes, quite often actually, people will call our office, go, "Hi, Desjardins Insurance?"
Yeah.
Like, no, this is KBD. Yeah. Oh, I need to make a claim. That's not wrong number, because they're literally just typing in commercial insurance, whatever.
Yeah, we get that a lot too, and we'll get the opposite also, which I'm sure happens to you, but probably less, or it's probably harder for you to hear about this. Is we'll get people call us who have placed an order with someone else thinking that it was us.
Really?
Yeah, and they'll say,
because your ad
where's
popped
is
up
my
first.
order? Well, people can advertise too for our actual brand name, Westmount Florist. Yeah. Can people do that for KBD?
Yeah, of course.
That's not illegal. You can't.
No, it's not illegal. If you want to, one thing you can bid on the keywords of your competitors. One thing you can't do is you can't put their brand name in your ads.
Right. So for us, our brand name, it's Westmount Florist.
Yeah.
It's just an area and florist.
Yeah.
So we don't have that same luxury. It's not. I don't. As far as I know, there's nothing we can do about that, because it'd be like saying no, Montreal Florist is the name of our florist. You can't bid on that.
It's tough to claim like it's copyright infringement.
Yeah, because it's just Westmount Florist.
Yeah.
So we get competitors bidding on that, and then people will order from them, and they'll call and say, "Hey, where's my order?" A lot of times it's like a screw up too. "Where's my order?" Was never delivered.
Yeah. And they'll
say, "What did you order?" And it'll be like,
"Are you stupid? I ordered from you, Sir. I don't know who you are."
No, we don't have that, and a lot of what you call like order gatherers or FTD florists, the products have goofy names like the Sunny Smile Bouquet.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be like, "Oh, I ordered the Sunny Smile Bouquet," and it's they still haven't received it, and at that point we know it's they've ordered from somewhere else.
Okay, so but I want to dig into this. For those, a lot of people are redoing websites, or they're updating websites. Maybe they've never built a website and they don't know anything about it. So when you talk about quarterbacking, or you're very involved in this you're building a whole new A to Z website. You're spending, you're going to end up spending at the end of this over $100,000, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And so can you just talk to us, because you can't code. You have a very good understanding of how the Google environment works. Can you just talk about what it's like quarterbacking a website? What's it like? Who do you have to manage? How do you put the pieces of the puzzle together to basically build out this website?
Right. Well, I think it came mostly out of necessity, right? Like I mentioned, I'd come to a point where I was just fed up of not ranking. So the idea behind the site is something that's going to rank. So we built the site with the intention and the objective of ranking it for those keywords that we had built out before anything else. I mean, I don't know if you'd agree, but would you say the first place to start would be with the keywords, probably, if you're going to do something along those lines?
Yes. To work backwards.
Yeah. Or so we started
by the way,
keywords.
I'll pause you there for 2 seconds. And for those of you that, again, so if you want to find out keywords, you can find them on Google. You can go to websites like Ahrefs, that's ahrefs.com, Ubersuggest. It's basically these tools. And so it's not, Brent isn't guessing, oh, I think people type in this search query. You go to these tools and they will tell you, hey, by the way, this search query brings in 1,000 searches a month. This is who ranks for those search queries. And basically, you just have to make, at the end of the day, just go look to see what the search results are and make a better page. Google will rank you.
But and this goes back again to what you had told me a long time ago, is that you have to do it yourself to an extent.
Yes.
Particularly, like a good example of this is with the keywords, because if you're going to want to do your own keyword research, it's something that in the past I'd have delegated or paid someone to do for me, but they don't know your business like you do, right? So there are all kinds of nuances and things that they're not going to know to avoid or include when looking for these keywords.
Yeah,
You know, like for
sure.
example, we're not trying to convert weddings online. There's no business there. We're not looking to grow the event end of things. There are certain products that we don't carry. If you have someone else do it, what they're going to do is they're going to look at your industry as a whole, very, very broadly. They're going to just see what the volume associated with those keywords, and they're gonna target them, or they're gonna maybe make pages for things that you have no interest in pursuing. So
a lot of times too, what they'll do, these digital marketers, I mean, I don't want to trash all of them, but I had a bad experience with them. I felt used. Well, they did. They took me to the cleaners. Especially now, Google. If you go run Google Ads, or like they'll literally just go to Google Ads, it'll spit out a bunch of totally generic keywords. They'll just copy paste those, and then they'll use those keywords to build pages.
Well, so why weren't they? If you're not giving them any direction, like you either have to be hyper involved or do it yourself.
Yeah.
And if you have a little time, I think you'd agree it's not that, like, finding keywords and keyword exploration isn't very hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can do that yourself. You just take some time to, like you said, use Ahrefs or even Google. You can flesh those out on your own.
Yeah.
Knowing what your strategy is and where you want to go, you can find those keywords and really sort of get really granular with what you want to do and identify those opportunities, right? Because keywords are all about just opportunities.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's, like I said, that's the first step. You're finding your keywords. And then when we're building the site, it's all about how are we going to rank for these now?
Yep.
And then, again, I met with you at some point there to sort of pick your brain on what's the best strategy here. And that's sort of not the most difficult, because once you know the strategy, once you start seeing it online, it's not super hard to replicate. It's not hard to understand either. But if you're not building the site to rank, you might run into problems. If you've got an old site, or again, if you're having someone else do it, if your direction is not very clear from the start, you're gonna have issues.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of considerations, right? Like I've learned a lot over the past year, particularly with regard to how you're going to build the site out, like your site structure. So what we're doing, and I think you do the same, we actually borrowed this from you. And when we look online to see what the competitors are doing who are ranking, like if we're going to look for some major metropolis cities, Toronto, New York, Los Angeles, I'm going to Google Los Angeles flower delivery, New York flower delivery. I'm going to look on their page and going to see what are they doing to sort of rank for these
keywords.
Yeah, these parallel keywords. If just replace Montreal with Toronto, whatever it may be.
New York flower delivery.
What does that page look like? What's the URL look like? What's the density on that page?
Yeah.
And what we see is that you need dedicated pages to rank, right?
Absolutely.
You have to have a page that's dedicated to what your keyword is.
And I find it's also a dedicated page. It's not only good for the algorithm to understand, like what it's...
You should explain a dedicated page.
So a dedicated page is basically, again, so let's take car insurance. So car insurance is easy to understand, but if you look at the actual data and what people are typing in, they type in car insurance quote, car insurance Montreal, car insurance Quebec, cheap car insurance. So you actually want to have like a page for each of these keywords. And so it's good for the algorithm, so Google, to understand, go, oh, okay, this page is about car insurance Montreal. If people type in car insurance Montreal, I'm going to rank KBD. And it's also good for the user, because the user, if they type in car insurance Montreal and the first search result is car insurance Montreal, there's a good chance they're probably going to go, oh, that's exactly what I typed in. This is relevant to what I'm trying to find. They're going to click on it. Mm-hmm. Or chances are they'll click on it.
And in the past, I like the technique and what had been suggested to me by some people who are supposedly experts in SEO and whatnot, is they'll try and rank your homepage for a bunch of things, which is not
ideal.
It doesn't work. It's not ideal. It's going to be like competing with a bunch of different words. The beauty behind the dedicated page too is if you're building your site with the strategy from the get-go, you can really flesh out all these pages.
Yes.
And see, this page will be ranking for this, so I know not to put these keywords on any other page.
Yep.
Because you don't want your pages inside the site competing with one another.
Yep.
It's a dedicated page. It's a landing page. When we were conceptualizing the site, we struggled a little bit with the language around what to call those pages. Do you call them dedicated pages? Like if I'm looking at your Montreal car insurance page, you call that a dedicated page, or do you call it a landing page?
The term that I use is a conversion page.
A conversion page.
So I have like basically those are the pages they're built to convert. So hopefully when someone lands on those particular pages, they'll the goal is for them to do a quote online or call us. And then all the other pages are on the site. It's really simple. So it's basically just, I have like the conversion pages for all our different products as segregated, or basically as much detail as possible in terms of segregation for the keywords. And then we have a whole other separate side of the website, which is basically our blogs. So our blogs are to rank for long-tailed keywords. But the thing with
Are you still blogging?
Oh yeah, big time. We hired a content marketer, Natalie. She's great.
Are you ChatGPT's not rating them for you yet?
No. We're like testing it out.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later, because I've been following like what Google's doing to kind of to
combat
to
that.
knock. They actually released a statement today. You know what? Let's just get into that right now. They released a statement today or yesterday saying that they don't necessarily care if it's AI. What they care about is the content accurate, and is this the best content that you can possibly have for that keyword? So in other words, they're basically this is the start of them giving the green light, like, because ChatGPT is going to get really smart.
What's the alternative for Google? You think they're going to be able to implement something that allows them to identify whether or not something's been written by a chatbot or a person?
They put
it's almost indistinguishable. It is indistinguishable at this point already.
There's something like, it's called what's the term, watermarks or something like that. So when ChatGPT, because ChatGPT is owned 49 or 51% by Microsoft.
Okay. And you see, they just their stupid Bing is going to be using.
Yeah, they're going to integrate. We're on Microsoft here. They're going to integrate ChatGPT into Microsoft. They're going to integrate it into the whole ecosystem of Microsoft products.
Wow.
It's going to be pretty cool. And Google, they've been investing in AI as well, but they just had to basically put the pedal to the metal, go, shit, okay, we need to really start going with AI.
Yeah, we don't know what they're cooking though either. Theirs isn't available to anyone they might have.
It's going to get crazy, I think. But for
the AI wars.
Yeah, but it's going to be interesting. But just back to like what Google said in terms of ranking, they made a very clear statement saying that all we care about is
that your content is written by our AI bot and not GPT.
All they said was, is it accurate content? And is this going to benefit the user? So, but this is opening the green light, because like what I was going to say earlier, ChatGPT is going to get really smart really fast. And so the way I interpreted that was, all right, well, AI is going to be writing all the content in 2 years.
And everyone's school papers too.
I had lunch today with some professors or teachers, whatever you want to call them. I don't think the professor's in CJEP.
You didn't have lunch with a professor.
I wish I did. I had at Vanier, and they were talking about, I said, what are you guys doing about ChatGPT and the papers and everything?
Nothing.
And the teacher actually he had a pretty good understanding, and he goes, well, it's not going away, so I think we should be trying to learn how to integrate this into our curriculum, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, kids are going to use it. Everyone's going to use it. Why wouldn't you use it?
I don't know. I would use it.
If you were a student and you had to write a paper, like if I was a student, I had to write a paper.
It's just so it's so good. You know, it's so it's mind bending. Yeah. It's the most mind bending thing I've seen in some time. I can't remember anything that sort of like vexed me like this in a long time that's been released. Like, it's technology wise.
I don't know. Like, it's gonna change. It's definitely gonna change my industry. There's a lot of things. I mean, why do you have to call our office? This is something I get frustrated with. Why do you have to call our office if you're a client to KBD to change your address or to change your banking information? It's ridiculous. Why do you should be able to do that yourself online? You don't want to call and wait 10, 15, 20 minutes to do that.
Yeah.
And we don't want you to call either, to be honest. We'd rather you go change it yourself. But there's just all these things, and it's going to get crazy. It's going to be really interesting. But one thing's for sure. I mean, it's coming. And there's nothing we can do about it. So I don't really listen to people that go, this, they're scared and they're saying everything that's wrong with it. But it's like, what's the point of talking like that? Because this is what's happening.
Yeah. And like you mentioned the professor and the students. And that's a good example of how, they're gonna use that. So you have to either,
of course,
just take that into consideration when you're grading. That like the writing style, it's probably been written by AI. But what is the how is it written, or is the formatting right? Well, the robot will format it properly, actually, so you don't have to worry about that either.
Yeah, and they have tools. I was watching this TikTok, and so get your text from ChatGPT, and then you can take your text from ChatGPT, and then because there's ways to find out if it's AI or not.
How?
I don't know, but there's ways. But the tool, so just ChatGPT gives you your essay, let's say, copy paste it. And you can dump it into this other program that'll make sure it looks like it's not written by AI. Now it looks like it's written by a human. So you basically bypass that little software that can catch AI written copy.
Yeah.
And this tool basically bypasses that.
Do you find, when you read it, do you find it seems like it's written by AI, or it's written by... Obviously, it has little...
iterations that make it...
little mannerisms that... But you can, a once read over with a few corrections, I think would solve that.
Yeah.
And then... if we both ask it the same thing, it'll give us the same answer, right?
I don't know. Good question. I don't know. I don't think it will,
because you can. We also tried to make it write an essay there. It won't write an essay. You'd have to make it write you an essay in blocks. Like if you're at school, if you said write me an essay about the benefits of having car insurance, it won't do that for you. It'll say I can't write an essay. But if you were to break it down into parts, write me a paragraph about this, and then you took that and made an essay about that, you could do it that way, but it won't.
I think what's going on right now, though, this is my opinion, I don't know for sure. I think, because I've been following this story, so right now Microsoft owns 50%, but they're making all that money back, because where's ChatGPT, where's all the data hosted on Microsoft servers, the cloud servers, Azure.
Yeah,
so they're making all that money back. I think what they're doing, and often you'll go on ChatGPT and there's
down.
Well, it's down because there's too many. It can't handle all the traffic on the servers. They could fix that very easily if they wanted to, but there's a cost to that. So I think they don't want to. And they're about to release a paid version very, very, very soon, $42 a month.
Oh yeah.
And so I think I think they're waiting for that to
This
release.
is a free version. They're going to take it away from us, right?
Oh, very soon.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we should have been banging out content the past.
But I mean, for $42, I'm going to pay that. So my theory, maybe I'm wrong, but my theory is once the paid version gets released, then you're really going to start to see the power. I think they're holding back power that this thing can do. My opinion, and I think once you start paying for it, because they don't know how they're going to monetize it yet. Well, they're going to start with this. I'm sure they'll get other ways to monetize. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to pay for this. I'll pay $40. I would pay $100 a month, because we write a lot of content.
Yeah,
I'd pay $100 a month for that.
It'll do your Instagram captions too. All your social. And it'll do it well also.
Yeah, better than me.
Yeah, faster too.
Yeah. Do you think it would?
You know what you should do is bring ChatGPT in for a podcast and just talk to it.
Reid Hoffman did that.
Oh yeah,
Reid Hoffman's the founder of LinkedIn.
Okay.
He had I don't know if he released the episode, but he had a podcast with ChatGPT.
Oh wow, was it any good?
I didn't watch it.
Yeah,
but I'm sure it's interesting to kind of see.
Yeah.
So I mean, and Microsoft owns LinkedIn too. What a company, Microsoft, eh?
That's a big twist at the end of this podcast.
What?
I'm ChatGPT the whole time.
And my brain explodes. Brought to you by KBD Insurance. Yeah. We totally got off topic there.
It's okay.
Okay, SEO.
Good job, Curtis.
SEO, so you're building the website, but I really want to, let's get back to just the original question. So let's say you got little Jimmy over here, or little Sarah over there, and she just started a company, and she has no idea how to build a website. From the experience, and I'm not, neither of us are professional.
Yeah, I'm not an expert for sure, but I've done it a couple times now.
I think you're selling yourself you're kind of not giving yourself enough credit. You do have a very good understanding for the algorithm. So forget design and all that stuff, but what would you say, so with your experience you've had right now, just quarterbacking this whole project, what's been easy and what's been difficult for you? Who are all the parties involved in making a website?
All right. So, you have your developer.
Yep.
We've got SEO guys working with us too.
Okay.
We've got a copywriter.
Okay.
Then myself, our director of marketing, and we now have like a marketing coordinator who can handle all the.
You're the Tom Brady quarterback of the whole thing.
Yeah, more or less, for sure. It's there, like you said, there are a lot of moving parts.
Mm-hmm.
But if you know the direction you're going, you can hack away at it like one task at a time, right? I don't know how granular you want to get, but
yeah,
like
let's do it.
So
we got time.
Yeah, sure. So I mean, the first thing, it depends too if you're migrating your site or if you're starting from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
I believe you scrapped your whole old site when you made your new site, right?
Gone,
eh?
From scratch.
Yeah. You redirected your 301 still, or not even?
No.
You didn't even do that.
No, because we didn't rank for anything. There's no point.
Okay. Yeah. So our current site does rank for some things. It's different than yours. Obviously, you're in insurance. It's a way bigger game, way bigger fish. We're not competing against companies that have millions of dollars to spend. So we were ranking for quite a bit of things. And like I said, it was annoying because we should have been ranking for everything, probably first based on the investment and time we're putting into our site compared to what most other local florists are doing. With that said, there are some big players too, like national companies. I can go on another tangent here. There are companies called the order gatherers.
Yeah. We call them aggregators.
Aggregators, yeah. And they're big in the floral industry because the industry is built on, for the most part, a system called FTD, which is Florist Transworld Delivery.
Okay.
And back in the day, if you wanted to send flowers somewhere like to Toronto or New York, you would go through your local florist. We still do this, and a lot of shops still do this. You would think, like, if you wanted to send flowers to Toronto, what would you do?
I'd call you. I'd call Westmount Florist.
You would call Westmount Florist. You wouldn't just find a florist in Toronto?
For a delivery in Toronto?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I probably would. Yeah,
well, it's funny. It's funny you said that, though, that you'd call Westmount Florist. It might be because you...
I'm biased because you're, like, my friend. So anything flowers, I'll go to you. I'm a bad example.
But do you have, like... Do you have in your head from something that flower shops can send flowers anywhere in the world? Like if you're calling...
No, I take that back. I take that back.
Because people still call, like young, not so much young people. It's so that's what's happened essentially. That was a big part of the industry for a long time, were these wire orders. So people would call their local flower shop because there's no other way really, unless you went into some sort of phone book or something and got a phone number for a shop in New York and phoned them up. But long distance calls were a way bigger deal back then.
Yeah.
And,
interesting.
And it's a lot harder to even find a shop in New York. Like I said, you'd have to somehow find a New York phone book. So you call your local florist. They send the flowers out to New York with a wire service. The local florist takes a percentage, and the florist executing the order in New York takes a percentage.
Cool.
Yeah, well, and that was really big part of the industry. Obviously now with websites, that's no longer as lucrative. Like people will go online, they'll order it themselves. I'll just Google florist in Toronto and I'll order right from there. We still do have a lot of clients who will call us for wire orders. For the most part, we do tell them that we're not doing it, or if they're comfortable, we suggest that they go online, find a florist in Toronto, and send it out from there. That way they know what they're getting, because we can't really tell them what we're getting when we wire it out. We just have to be very nondescript, like red flowers, X budget. So we say call there because you'll know what you're getting, and you're going to save a bunch on fees, because we don't really want to be in that business. It's more of a pain than anything else.
Yeah.
We still do it for a lot of our older clients because they're not comfortable going online. So we give them that service for sure, but it's not a great product for the most part. So what these order gatherers have done is they've leveraged this really old thing that flower shops have been doing. Most flower shops have the ability to receive orders from another shop for that reason, because if we get an order from New York, we need a way of receiving it with FTD or Teleflora or the Dove system. So these order aggregators are hooked up to the wire service as well, but they don't have a physical location. They exist only online. Mm-hmm. They collect the order. So if you were to Google, let's do New York again, flower delivery in New York, you click on the first result. Little do you know, it's just an aggregator. You order flowers. What they'll do is they'll send it to us. So never having seen or touched a flower, they'll send us the order. It prints at our shop. We fill the order, and that aggregator takes 15% or whatever the fee is there. So if they're able to rank, or even paid ads in some cases, and collect those orders, they've never done a thing. All they've done is captured that sale and sent it off to someone else.
They don't even have an inventory of flowers.
They have no flower shop, no inventory, no physical location. They exist exclusively online to take 15% off of your order, essentially.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So I don't know how I got onto that. We were talking about.
Well, I think basically just like one thing that you noticed was the fact that when you weren't ranking for specific terms, it's these order gatherers that were always ranking for those terms. And you're kind of like, hey, I sell the product here in Montreal. My website's way better than yours. Why are you guys ranking for this?
Well, the aggregators typically have like a pretty decent website, like a pretty good website. It's ugly. It's going to be super ugly.
I was about to say that. It's very ugly, but it's very functional.
Very functional.
And very simple.
Yeah. Well, it's anytime you look at any of these sites that are ranking, whether it's an aggregator or someone who's just doing it right in a bigger city that's managed to crack the code, it's always with these dedicated pages, or what do you call them, conversion pages?
Yeah,
it's always with that. They've got the search terms fleshed out. They're specific. They're on dedicated page, and they're able to roll this out. They're able to replicate that the same way that you've been able to do it. You have your set page, then it's all about plugging and playing geographic areas with keywords, right?
Yeah.
And you can see, like, anyone who's succeeding right now on ranking for high value keywords is using that technique. So back to what I was saying with regard to building the site from the get-go, our current site does rank, but not very well for a lot of things. So what we've done is really sort of followed that technique. But we have to redirect our 301s, right? Because we have a lot of pages that do already rank, so we redirect our 301s.
Sure.
There's just so many components. I'm losing myself.
No, it's okay. And I have one more question. And for those who don't know, so a 301 redirect, what it means is basically when you have a website page, so your URL, so the website address, www.westmountflorist.com/Montreal Flowers, example, that is an address. Google knows that as an address. Think of it as like where you live at your home. I used to live 242 Sherwood. That's my address. All the mail goes to 242 Sherwood in Point Claire. If I move and I don't tell them to stop, that I moved, well, my mail is going to keep going there. So a 301 redirect is basically when you're making a whole new website. It's like, as you know, when you're making a whole entire new website, how do I say this simply? Chances are you're going to change the structure of the website around, and you're going to probably have to change the URLs. Man, I can get so granular on this, but I'm not going to. You're going to have to change some of your web addresses. You're just going to. And basically, if the traffic is going to westmountflorist.com/Montreal Flowers, but now the new URL is /Montreal Flowers /something, well, Google is going to basically send it to the old page, and it's going to say a 404 error. Basically, the page doesn't exist anymore because you've changed the URL. And this happens a lot for people who are changing the brand name. So that's like another big thing too. If you have, let's say you want to do a brand refresh. So we're KBDinsurance.com. If we want to do a brand refresh to completely change our name to easyinsurance.com, it's very risky because Google knows our web address, the web pages that rank for certain keywords. It's very risky because we're completely changing our physical address for all of our pages, and you can lose a lot of rankings very easily. That's why it's like in the SEO game, you have to be very, very, very careful with these things because you can confuse the algorithm. I don't know if I explained that. It's very technical. I think I'm probably losing some people. Yeah. But the last part I just want to talk about, because I don't know anything about this either, the Shopify aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no experience with Shopify. But a lot of people use Shopify now. So in your experience, like, can you just dumb it down for people when they're creating a new website? Because there's a lot of drop shippers. There's a lot of people, they like, let's say influencers or micro influencers on TikTok or Instagram. They build up they go on WordPress. They get a super simple website. They integrate it with Shopify, and then they sell stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how easy is it to integrate with Shopify?
We actually don't even have our back end yet. So we're still in the early days. Like we're bringing all of our copy over. We're making all of our content. We're building things up on the back end. We have our theme now, but I've not seen a back end or a content management system yet. I'm hoping it's going to be much easier than our current one. Our current site's like a custom build. That's another reason why we really wanted to get out of it. It's antiquated, and
it's not scalable.
It's not, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how functional Shopify is going to be, particularly on the back end, like, because it could be a nightmare, you know, just updating products on our current site, like formatting things, very old, very antiquated, and I think the best way in the future is these sort of open source platforms like Shopify, which isn't necessarily open source, but there are people developing their like specific apps for them. It's a bunch of people can be working on this to be making things for your site that you can plug and play. And
that's why Salesforce is so popular. So Salesforce, it's like a CRM. They're so popular because it's open API. So it's like you can't be good at everything. Mm-hmm. So if you have someone like Shopify, like all they do is it's like, hey, you're having trouble with the transactional part of the website because you got to collect the credit card information, you got to fulfill the order and stuff. I'm not an expert, but it basically just enables you to make the transaction. People can pay for your product on your website, because before Shopify, I mean, to take people's credit card information, it's super risky. If you don't know what you're doing, like you can go bankrupt really quickly by getting sued, because you'll lose all the credit card information, get hacked. Encrypted. Yeah. So it's a genius part, but it's interesting with all like the open API and stuff like that. That's going on.
I don't know it too well yet, but I'm really looking forward to using it. Just like cleaner, and you look at the themes that they make, and they're just naturally like sexy, you know. They look good. Obviously, a lot of it is going to be the content that we produce and put up on there has got as much to do with that as the theme itself. But they just look great. Yeah, they really look good when you're looking through the templates and all the various options. I'm really looking forward to it.
So, are you is this gonna be like a company underneath the Westmount Florist umbrella, like the online?
No, it's all Westmount Florist. It's all the same company.
Because you texted me the other day about headphones for like a call center.
Oh, well, that's just for where we're at now. You know, our folks in the office who need
headsets.
Well, we have headsets, but they're not great. You know, because I'm listening back to calls a lot. We use that as for training, like we're onboarding someone, so to show him sort of how a call flow works, because a lot of different ways a call can go for flowers. I don't know. It's probably I guess insurance is a little bit more regimented, perhaps, or clear cut. Someone calls to order flowers. There's a million different ways that can go. You know, the selling process is a little bit nebulous, right? It's you call in, they'll typically ask sort of like what you have, or which isn't a big deal. You can tell them what you have, but like to make suggestions, it's art some ways, you know. It's not like buying a T-shirt or shorts or something like that. There's an artistic element to it as well, and there's emotions tied to it. So to learn how to sort of sell this stuff takes, I think, a lot longer than a typical business. I want to move into having it more intentional, like more like a menu, you know, so we can sort of present people with options, specialized options, things that we really know what we have, what we're getting, and why we're selling it. But as it stands now, it's very, very nebulous, and you have to really work with the person to sort of
are you the one doing the coaching?
Achieve their vision. Yeah, sometimes. We're not a huge team. I mean, upstairs there's just the 5 of us. Then there's a lot of people downstairs that are really making it happen down there. You know, the designers and the people in the store, the shipping, the processing.
How many people do you have in the call center?
It's not a call center. It's not a call center. It's just 5 of us upstairs.
Okay. Yeah. And it's like the operation of Westflow itself. So you have basically, so people call in, so they take the order.
Yeah. Anyone could pick the phone up. Like again, though, we are trying to professionalize things a little more, like make it so that we know who's answering the phone at what time.
Yeah.
But as it is now, and as it has been for the duration of my time there, it's sort of the phone rings, anyone can grab it. It's very much.
Is it usually a Pickrell to pick up the phone?
No, it could be anyone. A lot of times though it is a Pickrell, but it could be anyone.
How many?
But there were 5 of us there at one point, so 5. There was 25. You had like a 1 in 4 chance of one of them picking up. So
okay, interesting. What's it like working with your family?
It's great. It's very good, particularly my old man. I mean, we get along great. You worked with your dad too, though. You guys had some overlap.
I never really, to be honest, like even though he's on paper, you know, an owner, he's on the way out. So it's like,
but he's not around here, is he?
No, never.
No.
Never.
Have you had him on the podcast yet?
I had him last week.
Okay, nice.
I had him last week.
That must have been fun.
Was that last week?
It was last week. Yeah.
I had him on. Yeah. No, it was interesting, but it's just like for always working, because it's like, do you ever find though working with your family that, and I know they're great, and I know they're all very passionate about.
Yeah, you know them well.
Flowers.
You know they're like, they're all fun. They're a great group. You know,
they're a great group, but they take it seriously. It's great. Like they do take it seriously, and they work really hard. They all work very, very, very hard.
And this is their business. You know, they built this business. Like I said, my grandfather started, but they really built the business. You know, this is their business. This is their baby. It's it means the world to them for sure.
And was there ever any times though where you would get like frustrated, or and this is okay, it's not a knock on them. It's when you're working with the parents or other family, it's like it's normal to have frustrations when you're at work with anybody. You know, if you're not having disagreements at times, you're probably not that honest with each other. You know what I mean?
I mean, we have all the normal stuff, you know, like you said, it's just working with people. If there aren't disagreements every once in a while, then it's not normal. We're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I've been lucky though that they're so accepting and encouraging with vision and moving forward. They are very on board with most things. If I want to do something, they're very much okay with it for the most part. They're very trusting and they really believe in me, which is great. Like I really appreciate that for sure.
Did you have to do like a lot of convincing basically for the like all this, you know, you're making a lot of investments, capital expenditures into the website coming up and stuff. Did you have to convince them, put like a sales pitch for that, or not really? They're kind of like, yeah, we're of
not
course.
So much. I mean, they're smart too, so they know that
this is
the web is the future. And it's a great opportunity too to sort of take the business in a direction that we want to go in and really dictate what we want to do and sell to. It gives us the opportunity to really run the business the way that we want to run it. Yeah, we allow us to sort of pick and choose what we sell and who our customers are, and really sort of execute on a higher level. Like I said, they're smart enough to see that, so there wasn't really much of a sales pitch there.
Got it.
Yeah, they're on board with that.
Where do you see the company going?
I mean, with the launch of the site, we're definitely going to see a huge increase, I would think, in web sales. If we can get those organic rankings up, it's going to be really, really good for us, because like we said earlier, keywords are opportunity, and we can see all that opportunity. And I can see how we're not ranking for so much of it now. I can see what the other websites look like. So it's going to be very lucrative to relating to that customer to customer segment that we were talking about before. There's a lot of people sending flowers daily, weekly, monthly. Those are the folks we want to go after. We're sort of going to move away from events a good amount. They're not as lucrative as you might think. That's where people go to typically. Like when we first came here and started talking, you went right to events as well, because they're big, they're so flashy. You think that they're like that they're wonderful, but they're really quite difficult too. Like we said, Christine manages that for the most part, and it can be a real burden. They're very stressful. Like
I feel like it's so hands-on.
It is hands-on,
like,
and
high stress.
And the people are expecting. You know, there's a lot more expectations there.
They're
like
spending a lot of money too.
That's it.
Like I'm sure some weddings you
but
must have.
But the amount of work that goes into an event compared to the amount of like man hours and thought and purchasing that goes into a holiday or just executing a couple hundred deliveries, it's way less to do a couple hundred deliveries than it is to do a huge event. Particularly because of that, what you mentioned there, like the customers' expectations and their and sort of just how important it is. And we love our customers and taking care of their events, like being part of their special moments is part of what makes a florist so close with a lot of their customers, right?
Yeah.
With that said, though, they're not as lucrative as you might think.
It's also less stress for like you moving forward, because it's like,
yeah, and I'm not an event planner either.
Yeah.
I don't have that. I see myself
you.
more as someone who can maybe execute on a website or putting a
level.
brand together and
But build like a consistent client experience.
Really providing a great experience and doing what we do and doing it really well.
Because you could still
as opposed to doing everything.
Because you can make like an excellent client experience on, like, let's say they fall on your website, and basically they can order online, or you can pick the number if they want to pick up and call.
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't have to be Brent Pickrell or Christine Pickrell or, you know, a Pickrell to pick up the phone. It could be anyone. And there's a lot of, you know, if you have just a consistent client experience, and if you're doing the right thing, if you're coaching, listening to recording calls, that's the best exercise.
You just want to kill it, like, with what you're offering, right? You want to do it well.
Yeah.
And that sometimes that means not doing other things.
Yeah.
You pick and choose what you want to do. And what we want to do is really make a great customer experience for those sort of customer special moments, birthdays, anniversaries.
I agree.
Thank yous. I wanted to ask you about
let's go.
And you don't have to get into it. I don't want to get pry any trade secrets out of you, especially if it's
talk to me, baby.
Your link building. Your link building.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so would you recommend starting that? I guess you can't really start that until the site's launched, right? If my
Correct.
site is still on, so
you have to have static URLs. So once the site structure is set up and set in stone, and the site hierarchy is built. Side note, for anyone who's listening and doesn't understand what I'm talking about, it's okay. Go to Ahrefs, Ahrefs. Go to their YouTube page. They give a whole course on search engine optimization. They're going to do a way better explanation than I'm giving right now. A great content, great product. I use their product, by the way. And I don't sponsor them. So just they're great. Link building. It's difficult, man. You can do organic. You could do, is it called organic outreach or just natural outreach? So basically that's the most effective. Or you can pay a third party to do the outreach for you.
That's it.
Typically,
it's expensive though.
Yeah, it's like $300 US a link.
Yeah,
it's very expensive.
But these are quality.
If you get a company, if it's all white hat, you get a company that knows what they're doing. It definitely helps with the rankings.
So if you're paying for it, what you're doing is you're just paying for the outreach. You're not actually paying for
Correct.
like some.
But also that's bullshit too. People it's against Google's guidelines to pay for
outreach
links. No, you can pay for outreach because you're basically just outsourcing it's still manual outreach. You're not paying for links.
Yeah.
But it's someone just doing the dirty work for you.
And I'm assuming though that these companies that you're paying for outreach, you're saying it is white hat, so they're not just going to the same people for all their clients. Like they must have like a database then of sites that they're going to regularly.
They have a network of bloggers.
Yeah,
so they have
these are legit blogs. They're not like
yeah. So they have a network of bloggers, and they basically go to all these bloggers, and then they go, hey, I'm sure they probably pay them on the side, so it's not directly. But from what I heard, there's like a big it was for Bodog.com, and one guy was saying that. So for example, to get a link from Forbes, Forbes is
there's some authority there for sure.
He said sometimes they'll pay up to like $30,000 for a link.
Wow.
Companies will pay for that.
Wow.
Yeah, so he said it's bullshit. People pay for links.
I would think so for sure.
Yeah. So like for me to get a link from like Intact or to get a link from, Intact, I tried. They don't give links, but that would be
huge.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Now, would you point that at your homepage or to one of your dedicated pages?
I would point it to my homepage because it would be I would point to my homepage
because of just how powerful it is. Or because it's a broad...
links are tricky, man, because it's like sometimes if it's like Google... If Google dings you for links and they look like it's not natural... Because here's where it gets tricky with links. Links in their hypothetical world, which doesn't actually exist, they think websites should exist, and because it's such great content, people are going to link to you. But the reality is people don't know what the hell links are. So people aren't really going to link to you that much. Like everyone in my industry, no one knows what a link is. They don't know what that is.
Right. Well, why do they care? Like, why?
Yeah. Like,
what are they getting out of linking to you?
They don't get the thought process behind for Google is, so for example, if I'm writing a blog and I'm trying to make this blog the best user experience possible.
Right.
I think that in my blog, if I think it's relevant for me to link out to website XYZ, I'm going to put that link in there because I think it's going to benefit the user. That's how Google looks at it. And so if people link out to you naturally, then, That's what they want. It's a natural link. But it takes forever. So a guy like Neil Patel, a lot of people link. He doesn't have to do link outreach anymore because he's Neil Patel.
Yeah.
And everyone knows who he is. So people link to his stuff all the time, but that's natural. But it's just, it takes years and years and years to get to that. So if you're a smaller company, the reality is no one's going to link to you.
Right. Even if particularly if it's like you said, if it's one of our conversion page or dedicated page, why is anyone ever linking to that? It makes sense people will link to perhaps a blog article, something informative.
No one's going to link to it.
Yeah.
And so you have to basically do manual outreach. And even that, they're kind of, it's like a gray area about that. They're like, we don't really want you doing manual outreach. We'd prefer if it's just a link comes to you. That's just not realistic. I've had people reach out to me saying, hey, they give me this sales pitch. I go, do you want to just exchange links? And they're like, oh, cool. You understand what it is. I go, yeah. They go, okay, cool. Let's just exchange links.
So with that said, what's your strategy then for your dedicated page or your conversion page? How are you getting links for it?
I tell the company that does the outreach for me, I tell them I want you to put links to these pages. These are my most important.
Okay, so it is that simple. You're not worried about getting dinged for that, or you won't because it's white hat.
It's white hat, so it's not like I'm not paying for any links. I'm paying for them to do the outreach for me.
Okay.
Yeah, and the company that I work with, it's not like some rinky-dink company with a dude in his basement that lives in grandmother's basement.
Yeah,
like 30 employees, and I was very careful.
Of course, you don't want to get dinged, like you said. That's a lot of work down the drain.
Yeah,
if you're...
yeah, and a lot of money.
Yeah,
a lot of money. And so I did my research before that to basically make sure that I went to like multiple review sites. I really took my time to choose a company to work with.
Yeah,
because if you work with a company,
do you have a rep or it's
yeah,
you have a guy that works exclusively on your account?
He's British.
Oh, nice.
He's a Brit,
so you know you can trust them.
Yeah. Hello, Curtis.
That's a fake accent.
Yeah.
He's a scam artist.
You at the pub, yeah? It's pretty noisy around. He's like, he laughs at his own jokes. No, he's good. His name's Stuart. Yeah.
They're based out of where? The U.S.?
No, UK.
Oh, well.
Their whole operations are the UK.
Okay, so you've got your dedicated pages and you're using a service to build links for them. Do you approach them one at a time, or you've given them several at once to focus on? Pages.
They actually do the service where they're like, we think these pages you have the best chance to rank for. Like, so for example,
right? But you built these pages intentionally to rank for. Like you don't have that. Like last time I checked your site, you don't have that many of those dedicated pages rolled out yet. My understanding is you're in the process of rolling them out. You roll one out every.
No, they're pretty much all rolled out now.
You're not. Yeah. You're not gonna do more granular on the boroughs. You're not gonna do like Kitchener or like.
We've done a bunch of them already. We have a pile of them. We have Toronto. We have Ottawa. We have Mississauga. We have. Yeah, I've done all those.
You have Verdun.
No.
Are you gonna do like Verdun or?
There's no search volume.
There's no volume for that.
No.
Like none at all.
0, I think.
I guess people don't search that way. Like
it's Montreal.
When I'm looking at keywords for the flowers, there is some volume for like Dorval flower delivery.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what? 40?
Between anywhere from 40 to 200, depending on the borough.
200 is pretty good.
Yeah.
And does anyone else rank for that? Probably not.
Someone is appearing for it, obviously, but if I'm certain that their page could be displaced pretty easily.
It's about to be Westmount Florist gonna be the top #1, baby.
Hopefully. That'll be the strategy. The same thing that you did with the pages and the geo areas.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't need to do any link building for that, I wouldn't think.
I mean, I think in an industry like yours, I think like 2 or 3 links would be plenty.
Do you redirect any links to your blogs, or strictly those landing pages?
Sometimes. Just for the record, I get natural links too. Like people do link to our blogs now, but it's been 3 years now. So it's like 3 years and a full.
And they're good blogs. You really write some really good. They're real quality.
Thank you.
And the content's good. You have like little infographics and stuff.
We put a lot of effort into the blog.
There's a lot of effort in there for sure.
Like if we were to basically just summarize search engine optimization, there's no hack to rank at the top of the organic rankings in Google. At the end of the day, there was 10 years ago, there isn't anymore. And at the end of the day, you just have to have a good website that people like and that is user friendly for them to use.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of things that you shouldn't do though too. Like there are definitely things that will harm your site and things that will help your site.
Like what?
Like what I mentioned before regarding sort of not having pages competing with one another.
Yes.
On your site.
Yes.
Not stuffing your keywords in your meta descriptions or descriptions in general.
Yeah.
Don't try and rank your homepage for everything.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're using dedicated pages when you're building a site, and make sure you know what those pages are going to be before you start.
Like I totally agree.
And those are like they're best practices. Like I said, if you look around at sites that are ranking number one for those terms, they're all doing the same thing.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, and it seems really obvious after you know it and you've done it before. Like maybe to you've been doing it for so long, it's almost like it's a no-brainer, but someone who's never done it before, you don't know where to start. Like,
it was overwhelming for me. Well, what I used to do for SEO is it's like how it actually started when I went, okay, there's a play here. I need to understand how this works.
Mm-hmm.
When I was working with one of the aggregators, and we still work with them. Yeah. But I said, okay, what are they doing here? And I basically reverse engineered it. It's like, how are they getting all these leads online?
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is like a new company. They started 3-4 years ago, and I reverse engineered the whole thing. And every single day I would work, and I would go home and I would watch hours of YouTube. So I just go watch Neil Patel and stuff like that, how search engine optimization works.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, it's very overwhelming because you like you said, you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
But chip away at it every single day, and I would go home, watch YouTube videos, and I'd come to work the next day, do my insurance broker stuff, and I would test the things, or I would start testing the things that I learned the night before.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it was easy to do this because I really enjoy it. I like
right. That's
side.
Clear for sure.
Yeah, so it makes it easy but this has helped my business without a doubt. Oh my God, because I actually understand it. I don't need to outsource. And the same thing for you. If you think about it this way, I don't need to outsource the search engine optimization, which at the level that I'm at would cost about 60, let's call it for a consultation, at least $50,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't need anyone to manage my Google ads.
Mm-hmm. Who manages your Google ads?
Me.
You do all your own Google ads.
Anything Google, I do it.
Okay.
And so basically that saves, typically speaking, they'll charge you anywhere from 15 to 20% of what. So if you spend $100,000 a year on ads, they'll charge you 20.
Yeah.
Last year we spent $300,000. So they would have charged me 60 G's right there.
Yeah.
So I saved 60 G's there. So all is to say, I'm saving tons of money. The company's saving tons of money. I have more control over it. And I actually understand, I can speak to the troops on the ground who are selling the actual product and go, okay, what was good about these leads? They'll say this, 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 and this. What was bad? This, 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 and this. And I also understand insurance. So it's like I can put everything together very easily.
Yeah.
And it's been a huge, huge, huge plus for the business. The fact when I really put my head down and said, I really need to understand how digital marketing works. I want to understand. I used to look at my phone on Google Analytics and go, one day I'm going to understand what these numbers mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally understand what they mean now. I still have help for certain things.
Yeah.
So for example, like putting little pixels, tracking codes on. Like,
of course, yeah, you're not a coder.
No, embedding those on the website. I have a guy to help me out with that. I can't code, so someone builds the website.
Mm-hmm.
And even with web development, a lot of people, if you're trying to build a website that's SEO friendly, a lot of times web developers, they don't know what SEO is either.
They don't.
And we had that issue on our website. They built out our website, and I said, because one of the ranking factors is speed. People want a fast website on mobile. And the original website was these big, beautiful images, and yeah, it looks really nice. But if you have a big picture on a website or a video or animations, it's going to slow down your page.
Right.
And Google's going to ding you for that. And so the developers that I work with now, it took them, they understand now, but it's helped them improve a lot too. Because now they can go to other clients and go, hey, do you want to have a really sexy website, or do you want to have a really functional, fast website? So it's kind of we've developed a nice relationship there. But yeah, if I can give like an entrepreneur or just someone, learn how the internet works, and in particular how Google works, like you're doing, and you're just going to understand it more and more.
Yeah. Well, for me, I didn't but you really did do, it took you a long time to figure it all out.
Yeah.
But then you were really able to explain to me quite well.
Thank you.
How to do it, really distilled. Like you distilled all that information, and just presented to me in a way that was was easy to follow. And then I could see, like I've said several times now, that just everyone's doing the same thing. But it would have taken me a while to figure it out for sure. Yeah. Where we just met over some beers and you with some paper were able to draw out sort of how people are doing this right now.
Well, I was able to explain to you the mistakes that I've made and kind of like on the things, basically just the mistakes I've made. Okay, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and don't do this.
Yeah.
But this works, and this works. Mm-hmm. I'm super confident though. I'm excited to see the website because it's like it is a less competitive landscape. Like you said earlier, I'm competing
versus insurance,
like Intact, Desjardins,
huge companies,
and they have a lot of authority. Like another ranking factor
and money,
and money, a big ranking factor today. It's becoming so links are becoming less important, and brand is becoming just more and more important.
How do they measure that? I wonder.
Brand search queries. So it's like it's I think, and a lot of it. They put an even bigger emphasis on brand after COVID. Again, they never like confirm or deny. Yeah. But you can kind of tell. And over COVID, because there was so much, fake news and disinformation and all that, it was a shit show for like what the hell is going on. Mm-hmm. And so they just started ranking sites that they trusted. So like big brand names, big networks and stuff.
Things that are which have goodwill.
They kind of got corrupted too. That's a whole other debate, which we're not going to get into. But so they are like, you know what? I don't want to rank this little small website. It hasn't been around long enough. I don't know what it is. And if Google gives you a bad search result for your search query, it looks bad on them too. Right. It looks Mickey Mouse. Yeah. So they kind of said, you know what? I don't want to risk ranking this little website. I'm sure it's really good information, but maybe it isn't. Mm-hmm. I'm going to rank this website that I think is going to be more safe because their brand is at stake if they put in misinformation.
Yeah. I wonder what their team looks like over there that's putting that
on Google.
Yeah. Like that they're making those decisions and how they go about doing that.
It's not nearly as big as you think, man.
Yeah.
It's like if you really like sometimes
it's probably a robot now.
But on the All In podcast, one of the guys who worked at Google, he's like, if you really think about, I think the Gmail team was like, I think the people making the decision were like 10 people. Mm-hmm. So think about that. You got 10 people making a decision for tens of millions, perhaps hundreds of millions of users. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Yeah, for sure. They're not doing any of the grunt work though. They're not taking the customer service calls or anything.
No,
they're just making decisions and
you can't even get in touch with them though.
No. Good luck. We're trying to. We just onboarded someone to do the marketing coordination, and the worst platform back end thing has to be Facebook's back end is a nightmare.
Don't get me started.
It's a nightmare. Like trying to find or do anything on there is impossible. Yeah. It's a disaster back there.
We had KBDinsurance.com. It said this goes against our community guidelines. Mm-hmm. It's obviously a glitch with the AI.
Wait, sorry, I don't understand.
So on our Instagram page, if you go on our Instagram page, you can't. We used to have a link to our website. Okay. You can't click on it because Facebook thought that our website went against their community guidelines. Okay. Whatever that means. I don't know what they thought was on it, but that's what they did. Uh-huh. So we hit them up. We said, hey, this is obviously a mistake with the AI. Yeah. We couldn't get in touch with anyone. This is like 6 months ago. Mm-hmm. The issue's still not resolved.
Oh, wow.
We're running ads on Facebook and Instagram, but we can't bring people to our website. So we just have to bring them back to our Instagram page.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We can't fix it.
That's nuts. And good luck ever talking to anybody ever. It's impossible.
No, you can't get in touch with them.
Have you tweeted Zuckerberg?
No, I heard about your tweet though to Zuckerberg. Tell us about your tweet to Zuckerberg.
There's no tweet to Zuckerberg.
He said, "Listen here, pal."
I don't even have the Twitter.
Listen here, pal. That's all I got.
Almost.
Hey Zuck, can you fix my Facebook account?
Zuck dog, rank me, bro.
Yeah.
Up my rankings, bro.
Yeah, up my rankings, bro. I'll send you some flowers.
That's a good movie actually. The Social Network. I also watched that the other day. I love that movie.
Yeah. So it really is a good movie.
Yeah. And not what I typically love in a movie, but it's
how so?
I don't know. It's just a different, like the whole, like what's a similar movie to that where it's a It's like a business story.
Wolf of Wall Street?
No. Yeah, well, a little bit ish. I really like that movie. Yeah. I like the settings. I like being in at Harvard.
Yeah.
Then all the court stuff, like when he's talking to the
it is a well-made movie.
The people when he's being sued.
Imagine starting that company. Facebook right now, dude, their stock's on a tear.
Oh, is it up?
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Well, he stopped talking about the metaverse.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, yeah. And he started talking about efficiency, and he started talking about profitability.
But I would assume, I don't know, I haven't looked at all. I would think Facebook's numbers are down. I would think if you were to isolate Facebook and Instagram's obviously very popular, but people don't use Facebook anymore, do they?
I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure outside of North America, their user is it usership or user? Anyway, the amount of users that they have that use their platform is increasing.
It's increasing
outside of North America.
Yeah. In North America, it's going down.
Yes, but it's a different demographic. Like for example, for us, we use Facebook ads to target people like 30 years and older.
Okay.
And actually, in our demographic,
well, they're not picking up any more 30-year-olds. I wouldn't think.
Probably not, but I mean, we hired a new person, and I wanted to let the West Island and Montreal know, and we promoted the ads. Well, they weren't ads. We promoted the posts on Facebook.
Yeah,
and it got a great because the demographic that she serviced was typically between the ages of like 40 and 60, and that's if you want to run ads for an older demographic. Facebook's the place to be.
But they're on there. Like there are people between 40 and 60.
Dude,
they're on
surprised.
Facebook. They're looking
Facebook's
at photos.
Making a comeback, man. I'm serious for targeted ads for that demographic.
For ads, I understand for ads. I understand that yes, that could work. Are people still going on Facebook? They must be. If the ads are working, yes, they must be. I just find it perplexing.
I go on Facebook.
Yeah, probably to look at your ads or something.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. But like I remember my mom used to go on, my aunt would go on. I mean, we would go on when we were younger, but no one is on like Facebook Marketplace is big.
Yeah.
That's and I suppose the ads are on there as well.
Actually, I looked at the data the other day. 70% of our ads are on
Marketplace.
Yeah.
It's like pivoting. It's just like Facebook's just Kijiji now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget the people's profiles and stuff. It's just Kijiji. But it's good. Some good stuff on there.
I've never been on Marketplace.
You've never been? We just got a bunch of furniture on Marketplace.
Do you use Marketplace?
All the time.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I finished like half my apartment when I got here as Marketplace.
Yeah.
Like
good stuff. Affordable.
Are you serious?
My girlfriend's on there so much.
Really?
Yeah. It's
what do they sell on Marketplace?
Mine too.
It's just people reselling their stuff, right? So you get like furniture for super cheap. You get little random shit.
So it's literally Kijiji. It's Kijiji.
Yeah. You want a mid-century whatchamajig? Marketplace.
It's just less creepy because you see the people's profile, their face.
Yeah.
Smart.
Smart. What's Kijiji doing to fight against this?
Probably dying. I don't know. not much.
Probably dying.
Yeah, not much.
Brent, do you have anything else you want to talk about before we end the podcast here?
We can wrap it up, Curtis.
Yeah.
What
time is
it? Like, I have no idea.
Oh, it's almost 8:00.
Okay.
8 p.m.
Good. Is that a long one?
On the longer side.
Yeah.
Hour 40, hour 45?
It's hour 40 right now.
Oh, geez.
All right. Wrap it up, Curtis.
So here, Brent, ladies and gentlemen, Brent Pickrell of Westmount Florist. If you want to order some flowers, I strongly suggest that you check them out. Great bouquets. Anything like what's good at Westmount Florist? I know everything's good, but like what's like your bread
flowers,
and butter?
Curtis. Call us up, get some flowers.
Flowers.
We've got fantastic flowers.
And you know what?
Fantastic blooms.
I didn't even do this on purpose. This is gonna launch before Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Sorry, that was Siri. This is gonna launch before Valentine's Day. But yeah, thank you so much for coming out.
No problem, Curtis. Pleasure.
Guys, if you want to like and subscribe to Freemium podcasts, we try and have cool conversations with cool people like Brent right here. And yeah, thanks, man.
Thanks, Curdy.
Cheers.